Hi, I'm Nautica de la Cruz, and welcome to the Nautica Show. Let's face it, in Hollywood, there's always something going on, and I'd like to give you the scoop with the naughty news. Beyonce is not only attending to her motherly duties, she's also working on 2 upcoming albums. Now, there's no release date yet, but we can expect some of the songs on her new album influenced by the birth of her daughter, Blue Ivy. You know, I'm all for education and the arts. Rapper Nelly has announced his plans to open a new recording academy. Now, the facility will consist of a recording studio, engineering space, and a design studio for young students who want to learn about the music business. Now, that's what I call giving back. Guess who plans on returning to the big screen? No, not me. I'm already big. It's just your TV is a little small. Might want to get a bigger one. I'm talking about the one and only Oprah Winfrey, who has been talking to some of her good friends like Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels for some potential movie roles. Now, she's also considering doing a stage play. All I want to know is, can I please get something that she's doing in some sort of role so I could get a paycheck too? That's your Naughty News Report. Today's guest has been in the business for over 20 years and hasn't aged a bit. He's sexier than ever. Here to talk about love, life, and an upcoming album, Kenny Lattimore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Sexy, too. Hey!
What is your secret? You've been in the business for over 20 years. What's your secret?
You know what? I think I just love to sing.
Okay.
I'm still passionate about it, and loving to do what I do, I think, makes it fresh at all times. So.
Mm-hmm. And your physique, do you work out? Do you eat well?
No, I try to eat well, and I think I have a fast metabolism, so it's something in my genes that allows me to keep the weight down. But I think the business keeps me running constantly too. I have a young son as well, so I'm running after him. And, you know, so eating, I have to choose the right things that are going to really give me the energy, that are going to keep me healthy, so that I'm not sluggish. So I try to just stay healthy.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Let's talk about this new album that you have coming up in June.
Yes.
You have a new single, Kenny Lattimore, Find a Way. You look great on the cover.
Thank you so much.
Tell me a little bit about how this single came about. Find a Way, what are you finding your way to?
Finding a way to win a woman's heart, to win her love, to win her trust. It was a song that was written by several people, but the main producer, Carvin Hagens and Ivan Bryce out of Philadelphia. We know them from Music Soul Child's Love and Jill Scott, and they've done tons of people, Jaheim. But Carvin one day said, you know what, Kenny, it's time for you to come back out.
Okay.
He's a good friend of mine. And I said, you know, what am I going to sound like in 2013, 2014? Do people really want the album? You know, as a singer, you go through different time periods in your life where you can become detached actually from your fan base.
Okay.
Just doing life. So I'm doing life, doing my son, being a dad, you know, taking care of family, all of that. And I think I started to lose touch a little bit. And he said, no, it's time. Come to my house. We're going to start just recording some songs. I've got some great songs for you, and Find a Way was one of the songs.
Well, it has a very good upbeat, up-tempo kind of feel to it, which you're very good about that, because songs like Days Like This, For You, Never Too Busy, which is one of my favorite songs, has a great beat. And you also grow with the times. Is that part of being...
That was what I was afraid of almost, because when you're trying to grow with the times, you don't want to, you want to be authentic to who you are.
Okay.
And you don't want to seem pretentious, like, okay, now I'm going to do a song like Chris Brown. And I'm nowhere near the same age bracket or same fan demographic as Chris Brown. But this is one of those businesses where a lot of times you get caught in doing what the popular thing is. So finding my way, that was another, finding my way as an artist was part of this process as well.
Now, what do you think of music today? You know, you said earlier about Chris Brown, you know, you're not in that age bracket, but, you know, they appeal to a certain demographic. Your demographic is a little bit older, so what about the ballads that you write and the up-tempo songs?
You know, I found that at first I separated myself from Chris Brown in a way where I felt like there was never an overlap, and there actually is an overlap.
Okay.
I just had to make sure that I didn't follow his pattern as much as he'll eventually follow probably mine, because everyone becomes an adult at some point, God willing they live, you know. So you're talking about there are new adults that are discovering Kenny Lattimore, so they'll go back to the first and second and third albums, but at the same time I wanted to make sure that they could pick up this album and it still be grown and sexy but fresh, and not have a retro feel, because I've done a lot of remakes as well, because I respect so many of the artists that have come before me. So in doing those particular remakes, I started to develop almost a brand just for doing that.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that, no, this is going to be original material, but it's going to be along the same brand as I've been giving through the years, because they're new adults.
Okay, and so on this new album that drops in June of this year,
Back to Cool.
what are you, any remakes on this album?
No remakes. Everything will be original.
Okay.
I'm talking about even doing some great duets and things. I wish I had the names to reveal right now, but well, no, I'll tell you one, because I was just talking to him today, and that's Eric Benet.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're talking about duetting for the CD, because I wanted to do something different too. I did a lot of duets with Shantae Moore, Heather Headley. I just had different songs with the women, so I was like, what would two guys say on a song? So I want to kind of challenge myself creatively, but at the same time give the ladies something really amazing to hear and see.
Well, the ladies follow you, I follow you, and I know the listeners will. And you are going to continue making amazing music, and I know that, and I can't wait till you drop the album. Let's talk about your independent label.
Wow.
Why did you start your own independent company, independent label?
You know, I've got to be honest, in 2008, I felt like God was telling me to do something different.
Okay.
And it started with this extreme unction, not an audible voice, but an extreme unction to, I had to fire everyone. And when I say fire, it wasn't a negative situation. It was really letting everyone go and starting my process as an artist and as a businessman over. Because a lot of we artists, we record, we work, and do things for the label, but we don't own anything at the end of the day. And I didn't look at the unction in 2008 being about the ownership. I thought, well, maybe it's about just holding on to more money, being more efficient, having the organization set up really well, because it was more my management company that I started with. But then there began to be this progression into independent recordings that I wasn't quite expecting, but I was toying around with. I had some other great friends of mine who were saying, you know, you should, we have a deal over at Fontana or other places, and we want you to consider taking your brand and maybe doing a partnership with us. And it was like, great, great, great. Sounded like a great idea. But one day, I made a call into a friend of mine that worked at EMI, and there was some specific things that I wanted in order to do an independent situation. I didn't see myself as being a complete independent artist. Like, there's some amazing independent artists like Eric Roberson that are out who has done it very well and should probably be the model for doing it. But I have been in the majors for so long, there's certain elements that I don't think I was ready to completely transition away from. And being at EMI allowed me to have some of those elements, but still retain the ownership and retain the creative control for the project. So I have Capitol Records doing the marketing and promotion, but EMI doing the distribution for my Sincere Soul label.
I see. Now, how do those three companies, your company, Capitol, and EMI, how do they all work together to have your album come out?
What happens is my job as a label is to deliver content, whether it's recordings, DVDs, whatever, the video content, what have you. And I give that to my distributor, which helps me to literally just distribute, to put it in all outlets so that it is available to the public.
Okay.
But what happens with Capitol is they're using their relationships and their experience and their staffing to make sure that the record or the content is delivered, record in this particular sense is delivered to the radio stations properly, that is promoted across the board as professional as any other major label product.
Okay, so basically it's a big teamwork.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
if you wanted to, let's say, do this completely independently, can you do it without having them on board?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's a lot of work, again, because I'm talking about having the luxury of staff.
Yes.
As an independent, you would, I would say, the best way to approach it would be, first of all, making sure that your brand is recognized, because most of entertainment corporate business is based on numbers.
I see.
And one of the ways to increase your numbers is using social media and the internet. Okay. Because when you see people on Facebook and they have these likes, yes, or on Twitter, people that are following them, the more numbers increase, the more awareness you have across the board. It's like a news story. If everybody's talking about something, right, and gets certain types of attention, then with that attention comes different opportunities. So if my numbers on Facebook are huge, then not only do I have the attention of people, other people on Facebook, but I have a fan base that I can go to, and I can say, hey, there's a new record coming, or there's a concert that I'm about to do. And generally, those numbers will translate into either record sales, ticket sales, or anything else that corporate America definitely recognizes as dollars.
So social media definitely helps the independent individual.
Absolutely. And majors. So social media across the board. I think we need to understand in our community, okay, that there is a tremendous amount of power with the use of social media in general across the board. Even again, Lady Gaga and Ashton Kutcher and Chris Brown and whoever else, everybody is on social media because those numbers mean something. There are companies that will pay you because they know that a certain number of people are watching you. So they will pay you to advertise for them, if you will. There are artists that get requests that, we'll pay you $20,000 if you just tell everybody that you're using such and such product. It's almost like an endorsement where it used to be. Mm-hmm.
I feel like you just gave me a lecture in Business 101.
Yeah, that's no. And I'm kind of surprised that I can rattle it off my head now. I'm like, whoa, okay.
I like it. Because you can help that artist that is trying to get out there, that's very talented. And yes, there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of steps they have to take, but reading is definitely fundamental, and they have to
you
get
got to start there.
Yes.
You start with it, because you can't, how can you excel in areas that you don't know? It's about education first.
And speaking about excelling, how did you excel in this record business? What obstacles did you have?
I had the obstacles of coming, I guess just like anybody else, you go in, there's so much competition.
Oh, yes.
So that obstacle is really more psychological than anything else, because no one can be a better you.
That's true.
So I don't have to sit here and compare myself to great legendary artists as much as I have to compare myself to me. How can I get to be the best me? One of the obstacles also that everyone will face is desiring someone else's fan base.
Oh, I see.
Because a lot of times well, Whitney Houston sold such and such and such amount of records, God rest her soul, and I want to be like that. So then we begin to compare ourselves, and then we go after what we think her fan base was. It may not be our fan base, which was so beautiful when you looked at Whitney's fan base versus Mary J. Blige, for instance. Mary J. Blige realized that I'm appealing to an audience of girls out here who, just street, urban women, and I can appeal to the world, which she eventually did. But in the beginning, her brand was really to a young, the girl on the corner, hip hop girl, regular women, as opposed to, and when I say regular women, as opposed to affluent, if you will. That's where she began, and then she merged the two. But what if she had said, I don't want that urban bass? Mm-hmm. What if I don't want that hip hop bass? I want Celine Dion's audience. Then you end up killing yourself for something that doesn't quite fit your brand. True. So that becomes part of it as well, finding out who does my brand appeal to and going to them. And the people that don't like you, because everybody's not going to like you.
That is true.
My aunt told me that one time. I was like, I didn't realize how important that would be, because that becomes another obstacle.
Right.
Wow, okay, so-and-so didn't like me. Does that stop you? Mm-hmm. Does that prevent you from achieving your goal? No. You keep on moving from there.
Well, the good thing with you is that I know of, and even reading the press and doing research, I don't think anyone has ever compared you to anyone. You
thank God.
You are your own talent and your own self, which is great. Thanks. And when you first started in the business, did you think that this was going to be all glamorous, or that everything was going to be handed to you, or did you realize this is a lot of work?
I looked at it as work, because because I started as a teenage singer with my mother managing me, and I got a chance to see a progression, and I got a chance to see others fall to drugs, and I got a chance to see others just get frustrated with life and stop doing what they were doing. And watching that, I think I pretty much made the choice that, no, I'm going to stay on my path.
Okay.
But ultimately, and I tell kids this all the time, one thing I tried not to do was put myself in a box, meaning the only way I could feel successful was if I had million-selling albums out.
I see.
I had to figure out, am I really passionate about this?
Okay.
And I realized that that's what I was. I was passionate about it. If I wasn't singing and recording, I would still sing at church. If I wasn't singing at church, I would still be singing in the community. Somewhere, I would be able to get my gift out to the world. And that's part of it, too. When people are desiring success, if you do what you're passionate about, your numbers are going to increase. And you let people know what you're doing and you're consistent with it. There are people that will invest money, time, any type of resource in you because they will see that there's something solid there.
Well, that's a good thing that you never expected the big rainbow at the end. You always were walking towards it, but you never expected it, which is a good thing. And not too many artists could say that because, especially nowadays, it's you can't sing, but you can make money.
Right.
And
right.
it's horrible because you go, well, all right, you know, does have a little bit of talent or plays the piano but can't sing. And then again, you know, they're ultimately selling out records and venues and, you know, branding themselves. But at the end of the day, to me, it's always about, do you have the talent?
Yeah, and the people that are exceptionally talented. I mean, super talented people that are incredible voices, can play every instrument, all that. And I look at myself, never compare yourself.
Never.
Because a lot of the exceptionally talented people are frustrated when they see someone that is marginally talented and getting a huge platform. But everything happens for a reason. There's so many things that we think we are ready for that we're not ready for.
What about the artists that, I'll give you an example, a young girl named Anastasia. She's not that big here in the States, but in the UK, she is huge. She's like a phenomenon. I mean, amazing talent. And she just couldn't make it here.
I didn't know what that was about. I wasn't sure. She happens to be Caucasian. Oh, no, she's
Caucasian.
She's Caucasian. So I think that at the time that she was doing what she was doing, America sometimes is still subtly racist. It just is. And, you know, we're growing and we're progressing little at a time. But I remember her. And was a friend of hers before any of this stuff happened. And it's like amazing. I mean, before my album even came out, I remember sitting around and singing Shaka Khan and singing songs with her and Kipper Jones, who wrote a lot of things for my CD. And I'm so happy for her, but she is a great example of someone finding a fan base and not comparing herself to anyone else. Oh no, if I don't make it in the US, I haven't made it. No way.
That's
you
true.
go, and there's a whole world out there. And the internet, what it has done for us, it's made us global across the board.
That's right.
So when I talk to young people again about being business people and being artists and all that, I want people to think global. My greatest live audience is in South Africa.
Really?
It's not here in America. So when I go to South Africa, I perform in stadiums. When I come back home, I might perform in a little cafe or a theater or something like that, but I can barely walk the streets of South Africa, almost anywhere there. So knowing that we are in a world that has global opportunity, it should give us just more hope.
That is true, and talking about that, it's like the opposite of Adele. Adele,
yes,
so okay in the UK, but she came here and she just swept the Grammys.
Millions and millions of records sold, Grammys, everything. Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because when I first heard her album, I was going, who is this girl with this British accent?
Right.
You know, and then I finished the entire album and I was going, man, she's talented. And I'm so happy for her that her voice got fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it is. And I'm so happy that when you go to South Africa, you need a few bodyguards.
Right. And it's really cool. You know what it's taught me too is that this is what the life is on a daily basis. See, some people don't realize what they're getting into when they think, I want to be famous. you know, it looks glamorous on TV, and it is glamorous. I'm not going to take a thing away from it. It's very glamorous. It's a lot of fun. It's amazing to be in rooms. We were in a room last night with Martin Lawrence and Debbie Allen and Tim Allen and all these celebrities, Bill Duke, and I'm sitting there like, wow, and they're hugging me. You know, that's very glamorous, amazing.
Wow.
But at the same time, I think that what's discounted is the work that goes along with the fact that you may have been out all night, but how about you better get up at 6 the next morning to catch that flight so that you can be on television, look great, and promote, and then get on radio, and you might have to sing that evening, and then you have to get up the next morning and do it again, and be in front of people on a consistent basis that you may not feel like talking to.
I see.
You may not feel like being on, but that's your job. As soon as you come out the door, look at an artist, again, like a Whitney Houston, who is followed by the paparazzi, or a Paris Hilton, where as soon as you come out your door, that's a tough way to live.
Yes, it is. So that's a downfall of Hollywood.
Some of that, yeah, that would be the downfall, one of the downfalls.
And speaking of Hollywood, what about you crossing over? I know you've done plays. What about films?
Oh, I love it. You know, I respected the craft of acting so much that I wouldn't just take roles and just go in. In the beginning of my career, people were like, "Oh, Kenny Lattimore, you look good on camera." So I mean, certain things start there. Well, how does this translate? Because you're again, your brand. You are your brand.
Right.
So if I can use your brand to translate my message, then and I'm a company, a big film company or whatever, then I can continue to sell and grow my product, what have you. But I was like, but am I good?
Wow.
Because the most embarrassing thing for me would be looking back at product that's not good, because when you do records and films and all that's permanent,
yes,
it's out there for the rest of your life. So I think that over the last few years I've gotten a lot more confident, because I did study for a while, but I've gotten a lot more confident with the acting, and it is an area that I would like to conquer.
Now, film and plays are completely different. The stage is live and now, which film, if you mess up, you get edited.
Back and take it again, right?
Exactly. But how was that feeling of doing a play? What was that sense of urge or that sense of satisfaction?
It's interesting, because doing a play is more like doing my regular show.
Okay.
Because I do a lot of live shows. But what I wasn't good at is the live stage. You've got to project whatever your message is to someone way in the back of a room, as opposed to when you're on a camera and there's a microphone attached to you and all of that. They can pick up on subtle things. And I found that I was more, and I'm pretty soft-spoken, so doing the plays took a lot more effort. Because even when I'm doing my show, I have a microphone that I can hold right here if I want. But when you are doing film work and television, and the microphones are there, and they pick up on everything in a subtle way, you have to make adjustments. So you have to bring it back down and be just real with however you speak normally. But when you're doing a play, then you begin to project it a little more, and you have to be more exaggerated, and then it translates, and the people get all.
Well, I can see that person who's way in the back.
Right.
I get it now. I completely get it. Let's switch gears right now. You were married to the wonderful Shantae Moore. She's an amazing woman, a friend of mine also. What have you learned about marriage, and what have you learned about love and being in a relationship?
Yeah. One, we're still married.
Okay.
I don't know. I think there's rumors out that we're divorced. And,
okay.
But our family, we are going through that transition. First of all, one rumor is it doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
When somebody says, okay, I don't want to be married anymore or whatever, it doesn't just go away.
Okay.
So I am in the middle of that process.
Okay.
But secondly, what I realized was that being committed in marriage is about being more committed to a commitment.
I see.
Or committed to a concept in the relationship, greater than anything else, and that allows you to stay. Okay. Because we as human beings are just that. We're human, we're flawed, we're not, somebody's going to let you down. I don't care how amazing they are. You're going to let yourself down too, because we're emotional human beings, and some days you're not going to feel like you're in love.
I see.
You're not going to feel like, we don't wake up in the morning and feel great every morning. So imagine bringing that character to a relationship and wanting somebody else to kind of bring happiness to it or make you happy. Sometimes we make an error hoping that somebody makes us happy in a relationship, and it's impossible.
That's true.
I learned that you have to bring happiness. You have to come in whole and ready to give. And if you can do that, and if you can accept another person with their flaws, with who they are, and accept truth about yourself, sometimes people don't always like each other.
Right.
And I think that when you're a really good person, and Shantae's a really great person.
She is.
It's difficult to almost say things out of your mouth that you know are not part of. It's difficult to deal with how you really feel and articulate to someone if you think that you might hurt them or whatever. I'm sure there were tons of things about me that she probably didn't like. You know, there's things about her, and I'm just saying in general, I'm just speculating. But in communication, because communication is one of the other things that either keeps a relationship or tears it apart, it's not easy to work through those things.
Right.
But if you are going to stay in a marriage, and you are committed to the commitment of marriage, then you have a lifetime to work out those things. So what you do, you move everybody else out the way. Move them out.
Right.
And stay committed to working those things out. And you can. But if you put a time limit on it, then it gets kind of funny, because if I'm in a relationship with you and I say, well, Nautica, you know, you're good now, but, you know, I need you to change this. First of all, it's not fair.
Right.
But second of all, if I say, and you need to change them in the next 30 days,
right.
then I don't care, the next 5 years you need to change them. Once you begin to put time limits, any kind of time limit on anybody to change and become something else, you put them in a performance-based relationship, which is not based on love. It's based on performance. So that means that if that person does transform over to perform the way you want, it'll be something else that you don't particularly care for.
Well, Kenny, I want to say that you have saved probably a lot of marriages, and I want to thank you so very much for that. We have to tell our listeners that Kenny Lattimore Find a Way will be in stores June. So they could also go to your website, kennylattimore.com.
And they can hear the song. They can hear it. Follow me on Facebook. Facebook is official Kenny Lattimore. Twitter is Kenny Lattimore. Instagram, Kenny Lattimore. I try to keep branding, keep everything one brand.
Yeah.
But you can hear the song in its entirety on kennylattimore.com, and yeah, the album is going to be coming real soon.
All right. Well, we are going to show the video Days Like This. And Kenny, thank you so very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I want to come back.
All right, good. You're very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you.